rock and roll. Why does it always do this thing like that? There we go. There we go, guys. There we go. Excellent. Now, welcome to the show, everybody. You can see what I'm doing. I'm sort of setting out some of my Indian yellow out here onto the canvas. And then straight from my Indian yellow pile, which looks very orange on here, but it's not, trust me. We're going to go right into our phthalo, or our sap green. Gotta have that sap green color. We're kind of throw that in the middle, let it work its way towards the right, and then just a little bit towards the left. A lot of people ask all the time, how do you do the undercolors, Josh? Well, today you're going to find out. You're going to find out today. Taking that green, letting it kind of blaze its way over the yellow, and then we'll have these really cool little triple portals in the painting. It's going to be awesome. Just going to be awesome. Now, let's take a little more of that green, since we're going to have some. Maybe put it down here in our watery area. Just a little watery area down here, right? All you got to do is decide where you want to have your colors, and then lay them out. Watch everything come to life. A little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, and then we'll actually switch brushes. Go to a nice clean dry brush, and then we'll come in with our blue. Oh, the blue is so powerful. It wants to take over everything. So you don't need too much on your brush, because you're going to deposit a lot onto the canvas, and you'll notice it'll start to overtake all the green, right? You don't want to have way too much paint on the canvas. It's going to be hard to work with. So let's take some of our blue, drag it through here. You don't want to have them just a straight line. At least I don't. I like to have them intermix, and you get all these different colors. It's going to be fantastic. A little bit of our blue down here. And all we did with our canvas initially is covered it with Bob Ross liquid clear, right? Once this black canvas, well, initially we took our Liquitex black gesso and covered the canvas up, because it was a white canvas. We turned it into a black canvas with the black gesso. Then we came back and covered it in Indian yellow, sap green, phthalo blue, Indian yellow, sap green, phthalo blue around the bottom, right? And then we'll decide. We'll throw some blue in here too. Why not? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Wherever we have our bit of color interact with our white, we're going to get all these little different changes. Oh, it's going to be cool. Man, it's going to be neat. So, as long as we've touched every part of our canvas with a little bit of color, that way that we're guaranteeing if we go across it with some white paint, it's not going to be super bright white. We're going to be able to blend it down. All right, take our green brush on that side, take our blue brush on this side, and just finish the edges. Just depositing a little bit of paint on there, just so you have a nice brushed out surface versus a dry edge. No one likes a dry edge. Now let's come over here and wash our brushes out. I like using the odorless mineral spirits. Really get it in there, shake off the excess, beat the devil out of it into a bucket. Comes out nice and clean, guys, nice and clean. Fantastic. Gonna do the same thing with this guy. He's not so dirty, but you don't want to have all that paint on your brush. That's too much paint. Our big rule, the 3 P's of Paint with Josh, right? The amount of paint on the brush, the amount of pressure that we apply to the canvas, and then practice, of course, practice. Gotta have practice. That's the final P. All right, guys. Now, let's decide what we're gonna look like up here. Okay, if we took our double portal thing, right, it's an 8-inch cake pan, and then this is a 12-inch circle that I just used a bucket for. I put a bucket over a piece of cardboard, cut out the circle, and then added a little handle, attached it to the back, taped it down. That's all. Just a cheap little stencil, little circular stencil is all we need. All right, maybe we'll come up in here like this guy. Light that guy all up in yellow. He'll have a little transition of green, and then, of course, we're going to need our other guy over here to then light up the whole rest. So you know what? Let's move it up a touch. Just a squeege. Move it up just a little squeege. A little bit over there. And then I think we should be pretty good. There. Doesn't have to be so angled down, right? Now, that's going to be perfect. So if we can be limber enough and stretch, get a little white paint onto the brush, because that's all you need is a little bit of that white. Right? And that white is going to interact with all these other colors that we already laid down. And all you have to do is go around our little edge of our little guy. Don't want to be too bright, of course. Pushing against it, having that pressure against the canvas, right? Come around this guy over here. All the way around the side. Now, you know what? Let's get a little bit more paint on the brush so it stays nice and sharp. Come around here. Oh, that change from the green to the, or the yellow to the green to the blue. It's just fantastic. All the way around. Right? Now, since we've got these guys up here, we can sort of use them as like a little backdrop while we come in and just light up all these undercolors underneath with a bit of streakiness, right? You get that green, you get the blue shine out, all these different colors that we laid down underneath our canvas, right? We're gonna have another guy over there, so let's not go too crazy. Maybe this guy was coming out down here a little longer. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. A couple little bits. All right, we're gonna have a few clouds, a couple little trees and bushes and stuff that are gonna hang off, so we don't wanna make it too big. We have our guy over there. Let's come over here, stretch this guy out just very lightly, a couple little bits. Not everything has to all be exactly the same. Now, we're gonna let our big guy fall down. All right, so, literally, take it out, take it away, throw it over there, come back in, connect our little portal on the inside. It's gotta be a nice, sharp, thin line, right? Thin. I have it be thin. Don't have it be thick. If anything, touch more of your pan and less of the canvas, right? There we go. Just like that. Now we're going to take this guy away and place him right over here. Oh yeah, baby, right there. Right, and that's where we're going to go, side to side. And that way we'll be not exactly where we want to be. Now let's load this guy back up. A little bit more of the paint on the brush. Now we should see all sorts of greens and blues and different bits on this side versus those yellows that we saw and greens on our other edge. Right, gonna go right to the edge. Not gonna go inside the circle because this big guy overlaps that guy. It's supposed to be like that. All right, now we'll come back up here, do our last little things. Little maintenance, Little flip up here. A couple little streaky bits. Doesn't have to be the craziest things you've ever seen. Just a little bit of action so you have a bit of brightness you can play your dark bits off of, right? Bang, pull it away like that. Doesn't even all have to match or look perfect, quote unquote. It's gonna look excellent just like that. Now we're gonna take our 1-inch brush and every little where that we've got these little streakers, we're gonna grab onto it with a fair amount of pressure and start to pull downwards on those streaks in the same directions though, just like a clock. Right? Just streak them out like a clock. Takes away all of the little brush strokes from our fan brush. And then softens everything down around the edge, grabbing it over here, pulling it up around the side. Just a little bit of pressure just to drag that paint away, right? We have 3 stars out in the sky that are all being covered with an eclipse at the same time. So you're going to have all this light bouncing out, shooting out into the space beyond, in between spaces. The space between spaces. That's very cool. Man, that's neat. Now, here's something that I bet you didn't think you could do, right? When you have all this oil paint, we're eventually going to blend this guy all the way, and what we're going to do is incorporate our moon right into that little bit of soft puff. Okay, so what we're going to do here is add a little bit more of our paint. Just make a little craziness out there. This guy will add up into here, a little bit green, crazy thing, and then over into our yellow section. It should be much brighter. Oh, excellent. Right? Now, this one's got the green on it. We've already done the green and the blue, so we might as well mix those guys together. And all we're doing is just creating a little soft little puff of light. Right? See how I told you? Wouldn't even matter. Now, I'm going to switch to a clean dry brush for this yellow guy. Because he's much brighter, I don't want to dilute the colors and bring more of the green and blue over to him. We want them to be different. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of them. Now, in order for something to be casting all that light out into those little bit of clouds out there, we're going to need some moons. And yes, plural moons, right? Each time one of these planets goes across the sun and opens up a portal into another universe. And so let's come into here and let's plop our filbert brush down. Then we're going to spin it in a circle. Do it one time. If you're good enough, you do it one time. And that's it. That's all you need. Come over here into the green. Plop him down. Rotate into a circle. Can we do it one rotation? Boom, baby. We're getting good at this. Now, last little bit of white. I'm going to go down and off center. I've been doing this Orion theme, kind of like Orion's belt. So maybe that'll come into your equations when you're going to name the painting. Boom, boom, boom. Couple little crazy moons out there. Just so simple, so easy, nothing to it. All right, now, let's come in. We're going to wash off our brush so we get a nice clean surface. We don't want to interact all those colors together. Not just yet, anyway, right? Since we're only really painting with white paint, we have to kind of separate them. Otherwise, everything turns all into the same thing, right? That's not what we want. So let's come out here, a little bit of white, nothing too crazy, onto our brush. And maybe come up into our clouds and just keep a little dark area in between. Doesn't have to be the craziest thing you've ever seen, right? Just a little puff of color out there. Looks like a phoenix, like, come out there like that. A little bit more of our white. Remember, guys, tomorrow, which is Saturday, the 18th, I'll be down at City of the World Art Gallery, battling against some other artists in a little friendly art battle, and it's going to be fantastic. So if you're a follower and you live in Las Vegas, come down to Meadows Mall, check me out. Of course, come vote for me, not those other guys. Vote for me, right? No, I think I'm going up against two fantastic ladies. I think one of them is a portrait artist and one of them is an abstract artist. So it's going to be all sorts of different stuff to look at, and that's what's going to make it fun. Look at how these clouds are blue over here. Just because we add that blue in the sky, right? All we're using is white, and it interacts with whatever color shows up. Now, let's start on our blue side with our bluish-greenish brush. We'll come in here and just mix down those clouds, not trying to touch our other portal. I'm going to try to remain that little circle as best as you can do anyway. Right? The more you pull down, the more light color is going to come down. So it gets down a little bit further, a little further, a little further. The more that we're pushing. All right? So with our pressure, our second P of Paint with Josh, that pressure decides how far our little clouds are going to extend. Are they going to go up and around our portal? They're going to come down this way, right? All we're trying to do is have a little bit of light out in the sky and then pop a little bit of darkness in front of it, a little contrast, right? And I'm going to switch back to my yellow brush. This one has not touched the blue or the green yet, so it'll keep these guys nice and yeller. And we'll come up here like this and just start to mix it down. You don't need a whole lot of craziness. There's not a whole lot of I mean, there's 10 million details out there, but we didn't have to paint them all. You know what I mean? They painted themselves. That's the best part about these undercolor paintings. The painting literally paints itself. All you got to do is reveal the color that's underneath. Super cool. Just super, guys. Now, let's come in. If you're a fan or a follower of Paint with Josh, if you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're watching over on Facebook, make sure you're tapping the little emojis at the bottom of the screen. And, of course, be tapping over on TikTok. Don't disappoint me, guys, over on TikTok. 6,000 likes in 15 minutes. That's atrocious. That is atrocious. If you're not tapping on the TikTok screen, I don't know what you're doing, honestly. Now, you guys got to tell me, what 3 colors do we mix up in order to create a deep, dark, shadowy mix? The deepest and darkest of colors, known to man. This color is like as strong as vibranium is to metal, as this color is to dark. Coming next summer, the tricolorfecta of the colors. What are those 3 colors, guys? Jennifer Kane knows. Blue, black, and crimson. You guys know what's up already? Right? So, all we need to do is mix up that very dark purpley mix, this blue, black, and crimson paint. It gets onto the canvas, blocking out any bit of light under our clouds. That's all we're trying to do. All right, so if we come in here with a little fan brush, we wiggle down our paint, just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I can't even keep a straight face while I do it. Wiggle down the paint like that, right? Anybody can paint these trees. Get a nice little, sharp little blade on our brush, right? And say we came down over here, and up and then down, and then up and down, and then up and down, and up a little lower, and then down, up and down, and up and up and down, and up over here, and then down. That's all you gotta do. Little blasts of darkness that are basically gonna take all of our eye and take it from this dark and kind of blend it down into this dark, right? What's in front of these trees? The clouds are obviously behind them. So what's in front of the trees? That's our question, right? Now let's come in here. Let's mix down this color. Remember, you can purchase this painting if you go to paintmajaj.etsy.com. I've got it out there. It is available for sale. And I think it's about $285, which is not a bad deal for a 24 by 24 inch Pro Series canvas. This is the big, thick, expensive canvases that they make you buy, but they're super nice and they're super like tight, just like a drum we're painting on down here. Really neat. Right, just adding in a little bit of darkness. All we're doing, covering all that light. We don't need to see every little bit of every single cloud. Right, way off there. These whole little things, little forest off in the night. Now, same color, coming in over here, and the same thing. Let's come up on this guy. Maybe we come down just the top of the brush, just the corner, right? Not dubbing the whole brush, just the corner. Down at a 45-degree angle, and that's why you can rotate and flip your brush over when it starts to get less sharp, right? These trees eventually will be like little blobs if you don't keep the paint on your brush nice and thick, which is going to keep it together and keep your bristles sharp, right? That way the little tip tops of our trees can stick out into our clouds. Just like that. All right, all we got to do, add a little bit of darkness, separates everything down there. Let's take our 2-inch brush, come in here, swipe it up from the bottom to the top, a little bit of pressure just to have a couple little drag marks come off of those guys. Same thing, we're not trying to cover all of our clouds, not trying to make it reach the moon, for goodness sake, right? We just want to cover up any bit of color so it doesn't shine through the bottom of our clouds, or our trees. Excuse me, a little bit of color dragage up here like that, right? Very simply. Now I'm just going to start to tap just at the base of that color, just with the corner of the brush, so I'm just softening it down for its next little layer, right? You gotta soften it, and that way the next thing that comes down over the top is gonna have an easier time sitting upon our canvas. You can't go thick on top of 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 thick. It just doesn't work after a while. You have to have a little soft area to put that paint, and that's what kind of dabbing at that thing does. It just creates this little softness, brings it back down to this texture, this unpainted area so far, right? Man, that's looking cool, guys. Holy moly, that's looking neat. Just like that. Excellent. This bit at the bottom right here, going to be a little river that comes out, falls down anyway, so you don't have to worry about the bottom of your portals. Look fantastic, you guys. Just excellent. Wicked. All those colors. Just dragging out, right? Then we're going to hang bushes down over the top of them. Anyway, it's all good. We only really need it for a little bit. Now, let's take a white fan brush. Well, fan brush and white paint anyway. And maybe way back over here, we had this little river, but it's very flat. You don't have to make them super steep. Right? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden, fell down into our first scene. And they start interacting with each other. Woo! That's cool. Right? We're going to come over here, a little bit more of our white paint, and let's drag it back this way. See how many little bends we can get. Right? Maybe we'll have him, you know what, we'll bring him back. Over there, over there. Little things. This guy's actually going to go behind, and then fall into that guy as well, right? All depends on where we have our little river set, how it's going to fall, and then you're going to go back and cover over a lot of this water anyway, so don't even worry about it now. Don't even worry. Now, this little guy, he is kind of neat. Maybe, just maybe, we're back in here. I'm going to add a little touch of my fogginess before I lose all this light color off of my brush. Just got to get a little touch of fog in there, and I'll go back and make it look like that, I promise. All right, then we get down here. You don't see much river in this guy, and then he falls out again. Gotta make those crazy noises, otherwise it just won't work, you guys. Okay, now up into our yellow section. Let's grab that lighter color brush, a little bit more pressure, so we can just mix up a soft little bit of cloudiness at the bottom of them. That's all you need. All right, with these guys, more pressure. Watch this. How hard can you push that white? And blend it down until you get this little cloud back in there, right? And then we get to determine what are we going to make our clouds or our little foggy bits look like. Very soft little fog off in the distance. Don't have much to do with it. Right now, maybe this guy up here, maybe he had a cool little bit of yellowy, kind of neat little grass. Kind of like it. So a little yellow, little cad yellow, little Indian yellow, and a little bit of our white on our little brush. And then maybe back here, watch, we're going to come down through the mist, right? The mist doesn't determine anything. I get to tell the mist what we're doing. It doesn't get to tell me. It's not like, hey Josh, I'm going to be right here and then you have to adjust to me. No. I get to tell you where the mist is going to be, right? It does not get to decide for me. Maybe we had another little bit of grass come down over here. It doesn't all have to be the same. It's a far off little thing. Happening out there in the night. Now, I'm going to switch to my little bit of white, a little bit of green, a little bit of cad yellow. We're going to come over here and change up our whole little thing. Maybe this guy had a little hill off in the back, just tapping down. Just like a little typewriter. Right? And we come over here, a little bit more of our cad yellow, a little bit more of our green. Come down from a different angle. Right? Leaving those little differences and a little dark separator at the base of our little pond back there. That makes it look really, really cool, right? Remember, you're not going to see all the water and all that stuff. Now, ooh, guys, wouldn't it be neat if this one was a snowy scene? It was like kind of spring, summer, winter. All right, keeping with the theme, let's go a little blue, a little white, but we'll make it kind of grassiest back there. We have our whole little thing happening back there. Maybe it connected to that little grass area. Right? In our brains, anyway. It doesn't have to all look 100% the same. Come back in. Now we're going to bring this guy down. Bringing him down. Changing those angles. See how the angle rotates downward like that? I'm leaving that little space so you can see it. And you go back, fill it in, right down to our water's edge. And you get all these rolling hills off in the distance. Doesn't all have to look exactly the same all the time, leaving little separators in between. Come on, guys. Man, that looks cool. All right, now let's start throwing in some trees and such. Because if I were imagining some places out there in the night, in these awkward portal scenes, I would imagine some cool trees. Right, so maybe we got a tree on this guy who lives right over here. We're just going to pull straight down, boom, right into the foreground. Cutting through all that other color. And then we're going to come take our brush and just tap up into the canvas. Right? The more we go down, the more whole brush we're using. I'm trying to stay out of your guys' way. Right? You kind of rotate your brush back and forth. It's like a little pendulum. Making your branchies pop out, heading upwards. I like the upward facing trees. They're much more, I don't know, it's more uplifting to me. Imagine that. They're like newer, more alive trees. Just full of life. Right? Now, maybe we'll come back over here. Man, that's so pretty back there. In between those guys, we're not going to go as tall as our tree in the front, right? A little shorter. And his base is a little shorter than this guy's base, which makes him look further away. Now, just for shoots and goggles, let's come in here and let's do a little downward saggy tree as we come down and just make like a little Z shape. That's all you got to do. And then you go back and you fill in that little Z shape right in the middle. So you have a couple little branches hanging off on each side. Pop, 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 pop. Little downward saggy, old saggy tree out there. Oh, he's an old sagger. Way out there in the night. And then just tapping in with the little bits of grass. Same color that's already on the brush. See how that darkness creates a little shadow? Just the cutest little shadow from our little moonlight. Just so cool. Woo, guys, I like that. Now, we're sort of running out of paint over here. I think we might be able to get one more little tree out of that little pile. If we can keep them nice. All right, we'll come over here. Do all of our trees first. Let's put a couple of them. Let's say if we're going to go there to cover that. Right? Imagining you're going to have a bush here hanging off the bottom of our tree, a bush there to cover up the water, a bush there to catch the water, bush here, bush there, another tree, bush, bush, bush. So, lots of stuff still to come, folks. Stick around, because you're going to like the end. Let's see. We're going to come over here. If we're going to have the one big guy, let's do a smaller guy or two back there. Just come in, we're going to tap up on our brush, going side to side, creating our little branches, rotating. Doesn't have to be as big as this guy. You don't want him to be in the foreground. He's kind of in the midground of this middle painting anyway. Now, maybe we had a little taller of a guy come down right there. And just come in, start slapping up at it, depositing all this thick paint, right? If you don't have that thick, chunky paint onto your brush and then onto your canvas, it's not going to pick up our highlight color. You gotta have all this chunkiness. It's so thick. It literally has the little fingers coming off of it. You know what I mean? Like when you push the paint up against something and then it pulls away from itself and you get all those little fingery bits that are hanging off of the paint. That's what you gotta have on these big old thick trees. Now we're gonna pop a bush in here with a long tree in the front. We'll do one up there. Oh yeah, baby, I can feel it already. Coming down right here. A little bit out of our portal on a small little angle, just the tip of the brush, and then you get a little fatter as we get down to the base. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh, that sounded like goofy, but it was awesome. Bam, bam, bam. Little tree in the night. There's like a chunk of paint up here. There we go. Skin off of there. Now, let's throw some branchies off this guy. Now, if you haven't already heard, or I'm assuming someone is going to make a Paint with Bram liner brush account, because the Paint with Bram liner brush should have 1 million followers. Like literally, the Paint with Bram liner brush has its own following already, just from how much I talk about it, and people can't wait to hear how long this brush is. And when I say it's long, I'm talking it's 47 light years long. The longest brush bristles you've ever seen on a brush. But I'm telling you, it makes the sharpest, craziest little branchies off of your tree that you could ever want. So if you don't have it already, if somebody hasn't made a Paint with Bram liner brush account yet, what are you waiting for? Get over there, man. It's a gold mine. I'm giving you all the content. I literally am giving away all the content, and all someone has to do is make a Paint with Bram liner brush page, download everything that I say, put it out there for your followers. I'm telling you, look at the size of this thing. It's enormous. Enormous. I'm not even going to take the time to dry it because it takes like a full year to dry. A full light year. It's a long time, guys. All right, now let's go up here. We do need to mix up some more color because we're sort of running out. All right, so if you can tell me what those 3 colors are that we like to mix in order to make a big, deep, dark shadow. Coming this summer, the darkest of dark shadows. The 3 colors that you mix in order to make a purple so dark. How dark is it? It's so dark. I don't know. Space cats will come invade. That's how dark it is. It's so dark that it'll create its own black hole and suck us all down inside. Right? What are those 3 colors? Blur, Blick, and Crimson. Freaking airy fairy bay. Let's see. Jennifer, pin that comment. Blue, black, and crimson. Those are the colors. So if you're ever wondering, I wonder what those colors are that Josh talks about all the time. Well, let me tell you. Those are the colors right there. Now, I'm going to come over here and grab a Bob Ross half-round little bush brush. It's like a little makeup brush. We're going to come in here into the thickest pile and just dab. Look at all those little fingery bits. Exactly what I'm talking about. When you push in and you pull out and you get all those little things that are like reaching for the paint that left them. The little fingers. And we come down here and we're going to start to bounce up into our water, covering over some of the bits, making sure that we can't see exactly where our river comes from. You can see a little piece of it and then it falling over the side. Now down here we can take these guys and dangle out with the darkness. You got to have the dark come down, right? Dangle out our little flowers that are going to be hanging over the edges. And boy, oh boy, do they look cool when we start to highlight them. And if you haven't seen the recent paintings, get ready for something fantastic, because you're going to love it. Just love it. Now, off of this side, I want to go a little thing out of one portal, hanging down into the next, just on the other side of the river. Now, all depends on how big, how much you want to show of yours. All right. Dangle down. I never like to show too much of where my river is coming from. All right, now, say we have another little thing that's happening right down here where our waterfall crashes. We just can't see it because of all of our bushiness. Right now, before we get too far gone, right, I need to make up a little cloudy area back in here, just so we can hang our bushes down over these clouds. So let's come pop in a little bit of white. Just pop it right up inside. Chaplow! How you like me now? Baboosh! Just wherever. Just a bunch of craziness. Okay, now we're going to take that bunch of craziness and we're just going to start to mix it up a bit. We create these soft little clouds that are then, bushes can then hang down over, especially in the areas out here where we don't have any color from our portal streaks, right? These soft little clouds, the more you mix them, the more they're going to hit that undercolor that's underneath and blend. Come up here, come down there. How far do you want it? Really cool. Really cool. Now, let's get back to the task at hand, which is overhanging all of these little things. If you don't have the clouds down first, trust me, it doesn't end up looking as cool. Let's come back in here. Come up onto our waterfall guy, just super thick with the paint, dabbing it very lightly, like just sometimes just the corner of the brush, just letting it fall down, hanging down, all right? What do you do there? Do you leave it? Do you put grass in? Do you do another bush? Well, that's totally up to you. What do you want your painting to look like? All right, so we hang them down. Whatever your little hangy noise is. It sounds like a rooster, but in any case, we're gonna have our bushes overhanging. They're gonna be awesome. Gonna be awesome. Now, we'll come over here, grabbing up, dabbing up, scrapping up over here. Just a couple little dewars hanging down off the edge, right? Of our water falling out. In fact, it needs to go a little bit more. Just to there. Beauty! Beautimus maximus. Okay, this guy might have one little bush separating his little colors. Right, just on the opposite side of the river over there. And then we'll have just enough paint left to do one little guy in here as he dangles down over the side. Just precious. I never like it to be like a crazy straight thing, so always add a little wiggle to it, right? Come in with our brush. See if we can come in here and sneak just a little drag of that water as it's going over the edge. Very cool. Now, what are we gonna do? It's the question. Let's come in here, a little bit more of this paint, our dark mixture. And in between this guy, we're going to come all the way down from the top, very thin, then we push a little harder, a little harder, a little harder, boom. So we come down here and we land. Being out of the portal and then down into the bushes will help add that depth for you guys. I'm telling yous. Ain't I telling yous? I tell them all the time. I'm always telling them. Aren't I telling them? I'm telling them. I'm always telling them. Telling yous. Always. Right? Come over here, we'll do another big long tree. Coming down right past all that stuff we just did. Boom! Resting right down inside here, right? Doesn't have to be the longest, craziest tree. Doesn't even have to be the straightest tree. This guy's got a little curve to him. I like it. I like it. Now we'll add some little bushy guys off of him. And you know what? I'm betting, I'm just guessing that we could probably fit one more little guy back in here. Just a little old guy. Pop, 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 just like that. Couple little trees, couple little bushes. Now let's see if we can get all the paint out of this fan brush that is literally loaded with paint. Man, remember guys, you can purchase this painting if you go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Gorgeous little blue, green, and yellow scene. Gonna be fantastic. Fan-frickin-tastic. Woo! Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's grab a little brush and come out here, deposit just a little touch of liquid white because we don't have a big section of stars out here. Just a couple little bits, right? We gotta have enough paint onto the brush, but I don't want it to be too overfilled with stars. There we go. Little crazy things out there. Little bits on that guy. Very neat. Maybe just a couple bits in here. Maybe one over there. Just a little finger. Right, we can have them falling out of the waterfall. Little bits of water as they fall out. Very neat. Now, actually, for that idea, we could pop some back in there and some back in here. Just coming off of our little waterfall. Now, those are the teeniest, tiniest little details that only the buyer is going to notice, right? So when you're doing your painting, you don't have to stress over all these little things and literally like piping it or just picking it with your little liner brush or your gigantic long Paint with Bram 47 million light year long liner brush, right? Typing it or typing in. Let's do some typing, Josh. All right, now, we've got our trees, we've got our bushes, we've got our grass. Everything is done up here except for our highlighting. So, do you want to see me highlight all these trees and bushes? Or should we do our ocean scene first and then go back for the highlights? You guys let me know while I clean off some of these brushes. I gotta clean these brushes because they're getting sort of crazy. See what you guys think. Should we highlight it? Or should we finish the wave and then go back for the highlights? Who knows me? Who knows what I would do next? That's the better question, really. It's not really about what should we do. It's who knows what Josh wants to hear as you guys say it. All right. Oh. Sometimes you gotta beat the crap out of a brush to make it a good brush. You know what I mean? Like, no brand new brush is a perfect brush. You have to have enough of that beating the devil out of it to get it nice and worn in just right. That nice worn in brush gets you that really cool bushy feel or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's one fan brush that I particularly like to use because it really, I don't know, I like the shape that it makes in my branches. And then there's one brush that I particularly like to make my bushy, you know, highlights and stuff. So it's all about finding that one piece. What's that one piece that's going to make it work best for you? You know what I mean? That's what it's about. Let's see some comments over here. Thank you for becoming a member of the team. Make sure you check out the member rewards and come join the Discord. That's where we like to hang out afterwards. I'm thinking highlights too, guys. Of course, highlights. Because by the time we get down to the bottom, we'll be all tired and want to be done by then. All right, so let's just say, in our little highlighty area, well, should we do the tree now? Let's come in and we'll do the bushes first. I'm going to go a little green, a little yellow on each side. So we'll pop in a little bit of green down here, a little bit of yellow over the top. A couple little things, just lights it up, right? You don't have to see every single bit. Not every single piece has to be connected. Let's leave a little bit of space in between. Maybe put some green in there. And then back into the yellow on that side. We're going to dab it up over our waterfall, letting it intermix with those colors, but not being so bright that both the yellows match up. They don't have to touch, right? It could be flowers. It doesn't have to be lit by the light. It could just be flowers, but make sure there's a little room separating the two ones, right? It doesn't have to be the same. Come up here, a little bit, that guy. Little things lighten up in the night. In the night sky. So cool. Dangling off, right? Now, let's wash the color off of that guy, because, again, we don't need all of that. Over here, we're going to want to change our highlighty colors, right? As we come down here, let's go a little bit more into our green, a little bit of our white over here as we try to scoop up just a little touch. There we go. Right in there, so it's not too bright. Little touch of our green, our yellow. Come back over here. Adding in little things, right? That's a very cool thing right there. But it's not as bright as I want it to be. So let's come back and hit it with a little of this Indian yellow. We'll get our little orangey guys to stick out on here. Very cool. Just little changes in it, right? Doesn't have to be this crazy change. Just a little thing will work sometimes. A little of our green. That super thick sap green will help blend your colors down. Watch, we'll go a little yellow on this guy. Tap him down. Little things. Tapping in. Sometimes just smacking against the canvas, right? You never know. You never know. Should we switch back to our little Indian yellow? Get that orangey feel to that guy. Maybe we'll switch again. Go back to the little yellow bits. Doesn't matter. As long as you leave some areas that are covered, some areas that are open. You don't want to have everything be covered in all the same color paint, or even cover up all of our dark bits. Right? These little dark guys down here, even if we wanted to highlight them, we don't want to cover up every single bit. You got to have some of that darkness back there. All right, now let's come over here for our last little guy. A little bit of the yellow, just popping it right on, pulling it away. Right, leaving a little bit of texture right over the top of that other texture. Coming back in, maybe a little bit more. Over there, down there. A couple bits, not every place has to be so super thick, right? Now, as we come down into our greenish bluish bit, why don't we get a couple of these dudes, just a few, right? Maybe we'll get a little bit of action off the backside, maybe down there. And then I'm going to switch to blue highlights for the rest of that guy, right? And that way, we'll have a little bit of green side, a little bit of yellow side, and then we'll have blue over there. Very cool. Very, very cool. I like the way how this one's coming out. All right. Now, let's come in a little bit of white and a little bit of blue. We're just going to dab them up in there, and it should make these gorgeous blue flowery bits. But again, you're going to want to have enough paint on your brush in order to get it to come off. Now, whether that be a little bit of liquid white or dabbing it up in the right amount and consistency in order to get it to come off and remain how you want it to look. We had a little bit down there, a couple little bits. Nothing too crazy. A few little areas of white as it was dabbling down. That's pretty cool too. I like it. And that's all that matters. It's if I like it or not. It's not about you liking it. If you don't like it, you can do colors in your own version. And that's why we put these videos out. We being me. That's why I put these videos out. So you guys can learn from them, copy me, and, you know, pick up on the techniques, change what you're doing, have a lot more fun. It's going to be fun. I always have fun. I know you guys have fun too. I take a little bit of white even, just a couple little bits of white, just to help brighten up those little things of blue every so often. Little touch. Little touch. Oh, 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 oh. That's awesome. Awesome. Now, let's get rid of this brush. We can go back, highlight our trees, and then we'll do our seascape, and then we'll be done. Then we'll be done, guys. The seascape only takes about, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Depends on the amount of detail in there, of course. One of my most fun thing to paint, though, are those seascapes. Most fun. This painting's sold! Oh my goodness, who bought it? Who bought it? You guys are crazy! Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Much love, as they say, to the buyer. Much love. Let's come over here. A little bit of yellowy, greeny highlight for our tree. Let's see if we can come over on these guys. Oh, beauty. Beautiful. All right, I'm not trying to touch everywhere on the tree. I'm not trying to light up the whole thing. Just trying to leave a couple little bright areas, little dark areas. Hey, you can see we got a little piece of tree action and a little bit that's still dark. You don't have to have every piece be just as bright as every other dang piece. That's not what you want. You want it to be dark. You don't want to have your whole tree exposed. Doesn't like it. Little bits out there. Just covering up our one side of our tree, not the back side, just the front side. Come off of this guy. Bring it down here, a little bit more of our green this time because we're into our green scene. So our green, our liquid white, bring it down there like that. Dab it in, and maybe off of these guys. We just had a couple little baby things way back there. Right? He's not in the foreground. He doesn't need as many little details. Way off in the distance. You know what we forgot to do right there? Looks like he's floating out there. We need to tap him into the grass. There we go. Little tappy taps. Pop, pop, and a pop, pop. Just like that. Very neat. Gotta have him. Can't leave him out there floating. Gotta have a little bit of land underneath him for sure. There we go. That looks a lot better. Let's come over here and grab this guy up. And now, I'm gonna dab on him. Come up, tapping against the canvas. Very lightly. In little places, not trying to light up the whole thing, right? Not trying to even make every branch be the same amount of brightness as all the others. You have to have those depthful, shadowy areas in there. And if you don't have them, if you miss that original darkness, you're going to look at it and go, why doesn't mine look like Josh's? I don't understand. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you, it's because you covered up all that dark. You can't cover all of your dark color, that original black, that really thick, purpley mix that we created, right? Our triple darkness, the deep darkness coming this summer. You don't want to cover all that up. That's our friend. Little dabs here and there. Boom! Don't even cover all the bits. Leave him. Leave him like that. I have to tell myself that sometimes because then I'll try to go back and make it quote-unquote perfect when it doesn't need to be perfect. Man, that's looking cool already. Now, here comes the fun part, for me anyway. I love doing seascape, so I'm going to get a little bit of white onto the brush. Doesn't have to be the purest of white. I get that question in my class all the time. I'm like, it really doesn't need to be a pure white because it's just going to brighten up whatever's under here, right? Now, let's take our... Let me get our... God, I always overshoot it. Always overshooting it. That's okay. I wanted it to be about up there, but we're going to come down just a touch. Just a little bit. And you know what? Oh yeah, let's leave it down there. Let's put it here, make it straight across. Back there, take a little line. And then try not to move our stick. Now we're going to have to come up a little bit. Try not to move the stick when you do it. And then you'll have a pretty straight little line across. Just like that, see? But you can always go up a little if you mess it up. Now we'll come down off the edge, making it a little thicker over here. Into a thinner, thinner, thinner circle. Look how it changes into that yellow as we go across that yellowy patch. Very cool, right? Thinner little triangle. Did I say circle? I'm pretty sure I said circle, but I meant triangle. You guys know what I meant. It's okay. We'll take this guy off the back a little bit. Bang, we got our little wraparound scene. Now, I'm gonna grab a nice clean dry brush, and we're gonna take this guy and just stretch him. All right, we're not really looking for any details beyond a little bit of light and a little bit of dark line, right? Where that little stretch is, that's all you need. Literally, you don't need anything else than that. Stretch it out as far as you want, all the way across if you want. Very cool. Now, let's start piping in little details. Maybe we'll come back. A little fan brush, a little smaller one anyway. Make little smaller wave tips. Maybe out here, and make our first little mustache right there. Just like that. Now, being down here, you don't need so much white paint off your other side. Literally go, wipe it, blend it, mix it up. You don't need all that excess white over there, right? But if you don't remove it and you just keep dragging it, your wave will be longer and longer and longer. Now, the only reason I do that is to show you how you can get rid of it. We'll come back here, very small. Our next little guy, right in there. Very lightly off the side because we don't really need it. Flicking it back, flicking it back, flicking it back. Look at this action. Woo! Baby! Maybe we get one more. Let's get one more. Let's get one more, and then we'll do the big crasher. Right? Come in again. Zip. They don't even all have to be the same thing. slide it back, taking it back with that wave. We're going more and more and more horizontal as we go out to the side. More horizontal streaks and strokes. This little guy, a little brighter, a little brighter. See how it fades into our next little wave? That's all you need, guys. That's all you need. I feel the need, and that's all you need. I know that's not how it goes. All right, let's come in here like this very lightly. Stretching it, softening it. All right, take our last little wave, put him off the edge. Come back, soften his little bugger. All right, now we're into the midst. And it's going to be fantastic. That, I'm going to try to at least get that part and have a really like yellowy eye of our wave. That's what I was trying to do initially by laying down our Indian yellow right in that spot up here. We sunk down a little bit too far. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that Indian yellow right in there. Just a little touch. That's all, right? Just adding a little bit of undercolor of the yellow before we do anything else. That way when we go across it, it will shine with that white paint. Now, we come in over here with our bigger fan brush, more paint on it. And let's come in right over the top of this guy. Just like that, right? Come down here. Maybe we hit a little spot, we hit a little spot, we hit a little spot. What's that little piece called? I talk to you guys about it all the time. This little what? It's called right there. And as we take our brush with the paint, and again dragging it back, leaving these little dark separators, leaving them there. You don't want to cover up everything. Right now, once we hit this point, which you guys are about to tell me what the heck it's called, right? Once you hit that spot right there, then what are we going to do? Why do we call it this thing that Josh has come up with? Right? Let's see. Oh, was it Go that bought the painting? Go bought the painting. He's amazing. Pin this comment. Claire Dollison. Exactly right. The pivot point. And we call it that because we're going to start to use it like a pivot point as we go outwards, coming back to our same little spot each time. Right? And then we can imagine our wave is coming down this way. We can start to build it out, and if it's doing that, and it's going back this way off its other side, right? Don't want to make it too bright, but all of a sudden, these little points out here, these little peaks of our wave, again, we're looking at it right here, but now we're looking at it from the top. It hurts my wrist so bad to do that. Oh, we're looking at it from the top angle, guys. Again, not trying to drag this color back to that color. You have to have a little dark separator in there. It acts as a shadow. Right? It's casting a shadow from that next little lip of water that's coming in. Doesn't all have to be a straight line. Just have it be kind of nuts out there. Just a little crazy. Just have it be a little freaking nuts out there. Come back in very softly. We'll come back. We'll slide it back, following the same angles. Now watch my brush. Come back to the same spot, just like we did before. These guys, we grab, we slide them down, just like we did before. All depends on our pressure, how far it grows. And you pull it out this way, right? Now, we're going to have that pretty yellowy eye of our wave, just by kind of dabbing in this little bit. We're going to come up in here, we're going to grab it, we're going to push it all the way to our next little piece of color, but by goodness, by jolly, it's that time of year. By jolly, don't get up there and touch these two light colors together. No matter what you do, no matter if the space is too big, I'd rather see a dark separator that's way too big right here than have you connect the colors. Don't connect the colors. You gotta leave the darkness in there. All right, we're gonna take our brush. Let's just imagine we get this wave and it creeped up and flew over to the side. Right? Now we can take this guy and start mixing it, adding on more color, whatever you want to do. Now, the more it spreads out, the higher it must get in my mind. All right, so we'll come up here above. There we go. Start to come down, brighten up little things. You don't need it to be more than about an inch, inch and a half right here. All right, about the size of your fan brush, but you don't ever want to do it the full thing. I'm always doing it from an angle, from the side, feeding it down like that, letting it rotate over and curve, right? Now we're going to spin the brush, save a little triangle of darkness right back in here. That's the spot. That is connected to all these little dark separators out there. Just adds another little bit of depth. right? We just created another little point. Now, what was that point that we were saying? What was that thing called? It's got a name. I know it's got a name. I can't remember what it was. Now, who's got that name? So we can pin somebody's comment. Well, I can't pin you again, Claire. That's not fair. I'll wait for somebody else here. Who's that? Star? Let's pin that. There you go. The pivot point. That's 100% correct. We're going to come back here. We're going to go a little bit lower. A little bit lower. A little bit lower. Back to that same spot. Now watch the brush rotation. Right? It's already starting and it's twisting and it's coming all the way up here, right? Doesn't matter what you do. You have to rotate the brush the exact same way. Come in. Saving our little triangle back there. You don't want to get that colored in. Gotta leave that dark. We fling this guy out. Eventually wrap down. It starts to look like a little heart shape. Little heart shape of a wave back there. Just so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. I just love him. Oh. Just a cutie, right? Now we'll come in here. We get to decide where our wave is going to land. So maybe we're coming in and we're just going back and forth, same lengths, until all of a sudden, poof, we've just lined up with our wave right here. Right? All that extra water. Now, as we're coming out here, they're very long, very flat. But as we come in, we start getting tighter and we start rotating. Rotating. Our brush is lighter on the canvas. Light, 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 light touch, light touch. Don't want to drag it up, right? Almost creating a little circle right here. Except, you have to leave that space empty. You got to leave it without any color in there. That's got to be our darkest part of our wave. Right? All the shadowy bits are down in there. And the more little dark separators that you have in your wave, the cooler it's going to look. I'm telling you. I'm telling you from experience. I've done waves where I've added way too much paint. That made them way too bright. And been looking at them and going, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. I should have listened to myself. And I should have done this. Or that, or I should have stopped, or whatever. You know what I mean? The shoulda, coulda, wouldas. They'll end up getting you. They'll get you. Right now, we're going to come from the bottom, because I don't want to leave any brush marks on the top. I'm going to come from the bottom, just drag it up, not trying to get it up to the eye, but trying to extend it. Right, going like this. You can see I'm coming across the wave, but how am I not dragging the paint? Pulling my brush away. Contact, pull it away. Contact, pull it away. Contact, pull it away. You're making that circle, softening everything down. Right? If it was out here, we'd go like this. And then contact, pull it away. Contact, pull it away. If we were making one giant, and then it would get to a smaller, smaller, smaller circle as we came inside. Just right. Woo! Now, Go bought this paint. I thought Go, didn't you buy number 1000, which was very similar to this painting? I mean, you must have I must have unlocked the key to the niche of this man Go, who likes to buy my paintings. Very cool. Now, we're going to add on a couple little bits of branches on those guys when we get our liner brush out. But before we do that, let's come in. Do we have any more? We probably got enough. Let's get those dark colors together. We probably got enough in here. You don't need a whole lot of darkness for the mushy spot of our wave, like the crashing water. You don't need a whole lot of thick paint. Gotta have a little. Right? Remember, we've been talking about these dark separators. We're going to connect onto this guy who came up, then he made a turn, then he came up this way, and then all of a sudden, where'd it go? It kind of got too big to be called a dark separator, right? So let's come up underneath the white and just slap up, catching, grabbing that white, holding it up, right? We don't have to try to get underneath it. We want to cut through it. We want it to be held up by all of this other paint. Our dark paint is kind of cupping it, holding up all that thick white. Right, so we come up like that, start smacking at it, getting up underneath, and this will create all of our cool little foamy bits when you go back over it with the white. Just trust the process. But come out here and just go crazy with a lot of paint on the brush, just smushing it, full pressure, smashing against the canvas, just exactly like we do with our white, except this is with the dark color. All right, roll it up, take it up into your sky if you want. I don't care. Wherever you want to have it, just have that S-shaped curve. Just like that. Now, let's come in. Make that guy just a little touch darker, just in little places. Oh, man, okay. Now, let's wash off our brush or switch to a different brush so we don't have to wash it off. We'll go into our liquid white, back into this white color. All right. dabbing it in, and this is something that can't be taught. It's got to be learned. You got to try it. You have to test the consistency. Come up here above our white, or I'm sorry, above our dark. A couple little dabs onto our little thing like that. We're going to rotate the brush, and then just start smacking. The harder you smack, the more little bits will fly up there. And then as we come down and we start slapping into the canvas, over the top of that gray mix that we created, it's going to start to look more and more like water. Now, by the time we get down here, we just start going crazy. Boom, 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 boom. And even though we just smashed on a whole bunch of white paint, what do we leave in between all of those little bits, all these little smasher poos? What have we left in between all of those? Does anybody remember that little word we've been talking about all night long? All night long, all night. Ooh, all night long. Jennifer knows. The dark separator. Right, we're going to come in here with our brush very lightly as we start to mix this white down over that blackish purplish color. It's going to start going gray in sections. It might go dark gray. It might be very light. We don't want it to all be the same. So we go across very small, right, way out here on the tip of the brush so we can have a lot of movement. I've had students before grip the brush way down on the end. I'm like, you know, you're not allowing the bristles to bend and move as they move around, right? Depositing and blending all these little things. Now, as we come up to the top, I want to stay on the underside just a littlest bit. Oh, God! So small up there. Even if you don't even grab anything, that's better than grabbing too much. You don't want to have it be too bright up there where our water's starting to fall all over itself. Now, we'll go back in a little bit more of our white. Come back into, the liquid white, back into our already wet, gross pile of our paint over here. Then we're going to go back over this sucker again, right over those places that we went, just a few little times. Doesn't have to be the most craziest bit of detail out there. All right, and we come down here and we do the exact same thing that we did before, just not so many times. And again, what have we left in between? All of those little bits. The little baby boobers. What have we left in between all of those little things each time that we came and smacked down upon it? Anybody? Anybody remember that little word? Claire Dollison. Claire Dollison knows. All right, the dark separators in between. Now we're going to come back with even lighter pressure. So we come down, very, very, very light pressure. Very light, very light. I want it to be brighter than its counterpart, right? We'll even take some of its spray off the side over here. Very cool. Now, we got a couple darker areas, a couple little brighter areas. We're going to come in here very light, not even going up as high as we did before. Just having it rotate me all kind of crazy as it falls over the side. A little softer over here, right? Just kind of dabbing at it to help it blend its way in. Not trying to make anything stretch or deposit too much paint, anything like that. Now, why don't we come in with these guys and we'll make a couple little crazy little eyeball veins coming out of our wave. Just like that. Just a few little details. Very neat. With that 97-meter long paint with brand liner brush. Fantastic. Come in here very lightly, depositing just a little bit more of that sheeniness. Get a few little details out there. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab up our thick white paint, not the liquid white, the titanium white. And come down underneath and deposit. We should have blue down here. We're going to try to stay to about a 1/4 inch below our other bit of color, because remember, we're only using the same color, mostly white out here, and it's interacting. So you got to leave space, otherwise everything will kind of mold into itself, and then you won't know what's what. Now, we're going to go light pressure on this, or we're going to go heavy pressure. It's not a whole lot of sand to show you the technique or the differences. There's not a whole lot, but Carlos Arriaga is correct. We want to go a lot of pressure because it's going to help blend the paint out. It's going to pull it down. It's going to make it look more like sand than any other way that we've found to do it. Right? So we pull it down like that. That doesn't look like sand. Obviously not. But we're going to stripe it or swipe it out. Turn on all those little vertical streaks into horizontal streaks and then come back at it. Right? And as you come in, you just want to leave that little dark separator. Doesn't have to be the darkest thing you've ever seen. All right, but the more you sweep in at our wave, the more it'll kind of back that paint back out. and leave our little dark separator down there where we can just float right over the tip top. What's happening, Jeff's Oil Paintings? What's going on? Let's see, folks. Bop, 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 bop. All right, let's throw our branches on. We'll highlight our tree trunks. We should be good to go skis. I'm gonna grab a little bit of our yellow. Maybe we'll come back here. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfection. Little touch, and it'll help guide your eye all the way up your tree. Now, let's go back to our little bit of green color. Mix that a little with our yellow color, so it's not just pure dark sap green, because I want it to stand out on our tree. And if it's not bright enough, it's not going to stand out. Now, I also want to keep a little bit of that dark line in between each side of the tree and the highlights, because it'll help make your tree look more rounded. Right? If you cover all the tree, you're just going to have this flat green thing out there with no roundness to it. Now I'm going to come back in, a little bit of the blue and white, over here, touching on the same side, just going to touch and dab. Wherever we go, where it deposits. I'm not trying to make it quote-unquote perfect. Just trying to follow along up there. Take a little bits of paint. Doesn't have to be the brightest bits. Doesn't have to be the most perfect little thing. I like the bend in this guy at the top. There we go. Coming back, touching a little softer, tapping at it as we go up and down, just creating that little bit of barky feel to the tree. My hell! That looks cool. Now, let's come back for our final bit. The final countdown. Oh, I guess not. I guess we're not going to be doing the final countdown. So remember, this painting did get purchased, so you're going to have to help the buyer come up with a name in the comments. So start coming up with a title. What do you think this one would be called? And maybe the buyer will choose your title over everyone else's. As we come in here with the Paint with Bram 97 meter long liner brush. This liner brush will go from New York to Paris in under an hour. You can still paint with it. It's insane. It'll go from here to the moon, over to Jupiter, off to Andromeda, a whole nother galaxy, in a whole nother realm. And you'll still paint with this brush. It's insane. The Paint with Bram liner. It should have its own Facebook following. It should have its own TikTok page. I'm dead serious about that one. It should. Now let's come back a little bit more of our liner, of our odorless mineral spirits. And you can see I'm trying to put the branches out into the color, at least so it will take your eye and follow it out to the very tip of the branch. If you're trying to put it in all of the darkness, it's not really going to stand out now, is it? Put it out there, there's not really much color to bounce off of. Therefore, you'll have to highlight it if you want it to stand out, or find a place of light to add your little tree branch. It might sound like I talk crap about this brush. It's seriously the best brush I've ever used in my life. When I first saw it, I was like, Bram, do we need to put you in a home? Like, what happened? Are you okay? You approve this? What's going on, buddy? Do you need somebody to talk to? Like, let me know. Let me get in that head. What's happening, right? And as soon as I used it, very first time, it made the most insanely sharp. Like, look at this. Right across the moon with a branch. You can't do that with most other brushes. Even if you've got the odorless mineral spirits on there, it just doesn't come off as sharp. It's just crazy sharp. Good night. Man, that's cool. So, if you don't have one already, I suggest you get your anus over to the Paint with Bram website and order your own brush. It's worth it. I know he's putting in orders for new sets, new brush sets. I was talking to him the other day. So I get inside information on Bram that you guys don't get because we're buddies and you're not. No, I'm just kidding. You might be. You could be his buddy. I don't know. You could be. Probably not. But could be. Bam. Just like that. Foliage. Holy crapola, folks. This one turned into one of my faves for sure. Definitely one of my faves. My God, I know I have a whistle sound effect. Oh, we have to hear the, hey, we sold the painting, baby. Woo! Yeah! All right, now, final touch to the painting extravaganza. We bring our palette, our ginormous palettes that I got paint on my sweater. That irritates me. I like this sweater. Okay, we're going to take this, and to make our splashy spraying water look even more 3D, you just go at it with about 1 billion little sprays off of your fan brush. And it comes down, it's like the water is hit and pff, blasted out. Just blasted. Blasted it. Baboosh! Get all these little spray bits, they're out into the sky. Are they stars? Are they water? What's going on? They're on the beach. They're in the sandiness. Boom! It just adds so much depth, guys. Oh, I'm mad at my sweater. I bet you I know exactly what it is. We're going like this. It's exactly. Dumb Josh. Okay, now you guys are going to start coming up with a title for this painting since it was purchased by Go. And Go is going to let me know how many people are in his little birdie family so I can add them into the painting as well. I've got paint on my forehead. Are you serious? Well, I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it ain't there. That doesn't mean it's not there. All right, what are we doing for a name? Go, seriously gorgeous. 4 birds, got it. All right, so I got to put in my 3 birdies. And again, even though my birds are very small, I'm going to use the 1 million meter long paint with Bram liner brush. Just because I like talking about it so much. Come in here, underneath this spot back in here, and watch this. Look at the sharpness of these little birdies. Pow! Now, we got to come in with our buyer. Right? I'm the only artist that will add their buyer to their paintings, guys. Don't you forget it. Oh, God. Chat burp up there. All right, let's see. 4 birds. Zip, zip. Zip, zap. Zip, zap. And up here. Pow! Caw-caw! Just flying through, baby. Flying! Man, this one is so awesome. Similar to Go's painting that he got before, the number 1000, but every time it's always going to be different. Maybe you like these colors a little bit better. How can you say? I mean, you know, what can you do? Frick, it turned out cool. So, you guys start coming up with a name. I got to get rid of one of the, actually I don't have to end one of the streams this time. We should be good, actually. So we'll do the spinny winny wheel. Go's going to get another chance. Now, Go, do you want to keep your spinny winny wheel giveaway thing, or do you want to give it away to someone else who might be in the comments, maybe someone who watches all the time, or, you know, if it was me, I spent the money, I'm getting the freebie, right? That's me. That's my sort of thing. Most times, anyway. If I'm spending my money and it comes with something free, I'm getting the free thing. That's just me. But if you want to give it away to somebody in the comments, we just got to let me know who it is, and then they have to contact me after they win, because I'm not going to remember. And remind me to get their order going in the system. So, let's see, folks. What is he going to do? The anticipation. Choosing the name. Seeing whether or not we're going to have a giveaway of a giveaway, or just a giveaway and a winner. Who knows? Who knows? The anticipation is getting to us all. But you guys still have to wait until I finish cleaning these brushes. Otherwise, I'll forget, and then we'll have nasty brushes that we can't use. And we'll have to end up throwing them away, and that's no fun. So tomorrow, while we're doing this, tomorrow I'll be at City of the World Art Gallery down at Meadows Mall. So if you're in Las Vegas, come down, check me out, City of the World. Well, there we go. Whoop. Sorry, I had my phone start to die and I didn't realize. So, yeah, the phone battery was going and I didn't realize until just now. So if you're watching over on TikTok, I'm sorry for the confusion and the pause there. So, let's see. What are we going to name it? Go. What are we going to name it? My friend. Go actually bought the painting number 1000 and it was very expensive. I definitely couldn't have bought it if I were watching me. And I'm me. And I'm me. Okay. Let's do this, that. So I'll be live painting tomorrow. I'm going to stream it to my YouTube channel. I'm going to stream it to as many places as I can. Most definitely YouTube, so it'll be saved forever and we can go back and watch it and do all that stuff and have little watch parties and stuff. But it might stream it to TikTok, might be able to stream to Facebook if I can remember all of my devices and have everything charged and working properly. So, we'll see. But tune into my YouTube channel tomorrow around 11:30 Pacific time, which is, what's that? 2:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 Central, 12:30 Mountain, yeah, and 11:30 Pacific. Damn 4 time zones. There we go. There we go. Beauty. It's so dirty over here. All right, but I'll be live painting against some other artists down at the gallery. It's gonna be fantastic. Let me flip you guys around over here. Flip you around. Get ready for a jump scare. Ah, it's me. Watch out. There we go. You guys, hang on. There we go. Perfect, 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 perfect. That is a cool painting, dude. That is cool. I was planning on taking this one down to the gallery if it didn't sell. Luckily for me, and Go, it sold. So that's cool. That's like way cool, guys. So what are we gonna name this one? Orion's Eclipse. That's a very cool title. Very neat. So we're gonna do the name and then we're gonna do the spinny winny giveaway wheel, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it's over in the corner of the room over there. So we're gonna have a name first. Paint on my nose. Oh, geez, Louise. I like to stay still for screenshots for the folks. It's on my forehead, it's on my nose. It's everywhere. Is it gone? Pretty sure it's gone. Who knows? I'll get it on the back of my hair if I'm not too careful. So, what are we going to name this one? Let's see. Waterfalls of Viridian. The waterfalls of something or other, feeding a green ocean with waves and 3 portals with Orion's moon belt. It's a long title. It's very long. Where did Go? Was he not in the comments anymore? What? He left? How did you leave? How are you going to leave? You bought the painting, and then you just dipped out? How's that possible? What is going on with that guy? All right. Well, in any case, we'll end the show then, at least on YouTube and Facebook, and maybe he's written to me or something on another app, but I don't have any of my devices, so I can't see it until, oh, he's here, he's back. Let's go with Orion's Eclipse. I like that. Very, very cool, you guys. She's stuck. Come on, baby. Let it go. Let it go. Ah, there we go. That's what happens when you put them on there with still acrylic, wet acrylic paint on them. Get down there. There we go. I do the acrylic black and then I let it sit up here and dry and then it gets stuck to the easel. Let's go like that. Number 1015, guys. What are we calling it again? Orion's Eclipse. Bam, bam, bam. I got this huge thing of green on me already. So, what's today's date? The 15th? 16th? What's the date? 16th? 16th, right? It's the 16th, I'm pretty sure. It's the 16th. It's gotta be. 17th. It's the 17th. Okay. Let's do 11, 16, 23, and we're all gonna go to paintwithjosh.com. I can paint. I never said I was a spellman, okay? You're looking at me like you don't know what that is. Policeman, longshoreman, fireman, spellman. Like I'm the weird one. Spellman. Now you can see I'm gonna have to do a little touch up on Go's top of his canvas because this guy was a little wet when we put it up there, so it's got a little bit of paint removal that we'll have to cover up right here. In any case, it'll add a little bit of paint around the entire canvas, which will make it look complete. Now, you just have to make sure not to touch it while it's wet on the sides, right? Very cool. Let's take this sucker up here. Drop it back in. Boom, boom. And down. Poosh! Very cool. Very cool, guys. All right, well, let's end the show over on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll hang out for a few minutes on TikTok, and then I'm going to get out of here with an early night. I was going to say maybe if you guys are lucky I'd come back and do another show, but maybe. I'll just keep you just little show, maybe. So, I can't wait to see your guys' versions of this without getting, did I get more paint on me? Without getting more paint on my face. I can't wait to see your version of this when you send it in. One more time. Clip. Well, guys, this one, hey, hang on. All right, this one, one more time. Here we go. You actually have to drop the brush. That's what it is. Well, guys, this one turned out fantastic. I can't wait to see your version of it. Please send it into facebook.com/paintwithjosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. Pow! Just crazy. Woo! Man, that came out good.